That's good for Germany, because I think right now they are saying, "Wir wurden mit heruntergelassen." Husen, wisst? Okay, welcome back to video number 4 of our Stalingrad playthrough. We are on turn number 6, an exciting turn for us because we get a bad weather roll at 2 or less. Great name, that. It means that I think the Soviets would be fairly happy to see bad weather coming in on turn 6 and turn 7, because if the Don River freezes over and the Soviets are chasing the Germans back across there, they won't be giving away that defensive bonus that the Germans would be getting. And if we get the second bad weather roll, the Volga will freeze up. We can get these guys across from Krasnaya Sloboda into the action, into the city, and start chasing those nasty Germans out of our areas. So as I will now get on with the German reinforcements. I'll see you in a little bit. Okay, before we get on to the Axis movements, I've put a little breadcrumb trail of grey chips. Hopefully it's not too confusing to you. It's going to help me out just to explain things, remember what I was thinking. This is actually a very complicated round, and I'm loving it. We've got to do the weather roll first, because that's going to affect what air could do possibly later on in the round. So we roll 1 dice, bad weather rounds. Air units cannot attack or defend, but they still be taken as casualties. The only air unit movement allowed in bad weather is air transport and relocating, which may possibly happen. So out of 2 or less, we don't get bad weather. That's going to help the Germans out by a little bit. Slide it out the way. Put the card up there. The Axis reinforcement on turn number 6 was a infantry, which we put, let me just move the cards because it's stuck in my fingers now, which we have put into Oblivinskaya, just down here. He is going to air transport up to here into Pitomnik, and the plane can land in the airport-ish. These can come off. I have to work hard against insider trading, knowing that the Soviets are going to be launching Operation Uranus. Germany are thinking, well, we've reduced the threat that's up here. The next threat is from Kremlinskaya, and the Germans themselves didn't know that Uranus was going to be launched. It was a complete surprise to them. But I think with a little bit of an eye to wariness, Kletskaya is going to stay there. These 2 guys, Bolshoi Serafimovic, new word to pronounce, are going to conglomerate themselves into Perelazovsky. So these 2 guys are going to move back. I think it's a good move. We are giving up on that 1 RP, but I think a little bit of strength in numbers in a few places is possibly better than the 1 or 2 RPs, because we're up to about, I think it's 29 now in the German bin. Over here in Kutluban and Rhinock, thinking about bringing that guy into the north of the city, into either Machetka Ravine or Spartanovka, but I think the battle in the north of the city has been lost by Germany, and perhaps they would be thinking about coming south for all their forces. So Kutluban is coming into Vertiachi, as is Rhinock into Vertiachi. Get me worms right. And then we can look at the guys in the city first. I'll come back to him in a moment. Up there in the north of the city, as I said, that battle has been lost. But I think, again, one of those ones of giving up 1 IPC, 1 RPC, is probably better at this stage. We're going to move this 1 guy from Skolterny into the barricaded worker settlement. So we've now got 3 units into there. In Mamayev Kurgan, these guys here are all single units. These tokens are just going to tell us that these 2 mech and this 1 artillery is now going to take control of the train station. This 1 tank is going to come around in a blitzing move. I don't know why I'm doing that way around. We don't have to do that, but it just seemed like fun at the time. And the 1 guy goes into the chemical factory. So we've now grabbed 2 more areas on assaults which are unopposed. Gives us 2 more away from the Soviet economy, though we are giving up potentially 1 up there and a couple up the north. It seems like a bit of counter thinking that I'm taking stuff away and grabbing stuff at the same time, but I think we're giving up on there. We're trying to protect stuff down here. Gumrak, 2 guys in there. They are 2 guys moving to army camp. So we can grab a compensating 3rd RPC from there. They should stand up against any kind of sniperish attacks, we would hope. And 2 guys in the other factory are moving into the southern rail station. That will be an assault. The 1 tank in Kuporeznaya is staying there for the moment. We're hoping to get more guys in to make that attack effective and economic. And the last bit we're going to do is we've got the 3 mechs which are just out of shot. They're in Pitomnik. They can come through Gumrak. We already own that place, so they can come through again into this southern rail station area, doubling up as they go. So 3 of those guys become 6 of those guys, giving us 8 in that region. It's a big telling number. Why is there a supply token? I've put a supply token down rather than the control marker, because I'm clever like that, you know. Let me swap that over. That's me and me fat fingers sometimes. Yeah, so we've got 8 units into here for this assault. It should be a done deal. And we've got some strength down here to hold off the southern half of the city. I don't know if a better tactic would perhaps have been to go into just one side of the city and back through, rather than going through 2 different places. But that's for the finding out in future games. So we can now get our air. Because we don't have bad weather, we can use our air. We used our 1 guy for transporting the guy to Pitomnik. We've got a bomber and 2 fighters. And again, I'm trying to reduce the effectiveness, flip around the camera, the effectiveness of these guys up here in the greeny brown region, greeny grey region. We're going to put the 2 aircraft against this 1 bridge there with an assault marker. Try and blow it up with 2 shots. And we're going to use 1 piece of air versus the white bridge down here. So we have 2 dice versus the aircraft at the Barakadi factory ferry attack. And we've clipped 1 of the wings, but both the planes survive. And we have 1 dice versus the one at the grain station. And that plane survives too. Now, I've just spent about 2 minutes standing here thinking, I've missed something, what have I missed? I've missed something, what have I missed? And it finally came to me, we haven't done the ambush sites. So let's just start off south to north. We got this 1 ambush site here, can fire a shot. I think I quite like the idea into the southern rail station. Maybe we can hit 1 of these Stugs. It gets a dice out of 2 or out of 1. Or at a miss. We can look at the 1 from the October workers settlement, this region round here. I don't know what you call his site, but it's in this area. He's going to go at the guy in the chemical factory. He's only got 1 guy to hit. And he takes him out. Oh, headshot. Ba-doom. We've now got the 1 up here from the Barakadi workers factory area thingy. He's going to get 1 shot into the Barakadi worker settlement. And he targets his shot too. Oh, man alive. Goodbye, Mr. Stug. That is fantastic rolling by the Soviets there. Germans will be very unhappy about that. And we will get on with their Axis attacks now. Yeah, we've just got a couple of little ones to do. Let me just throw those over the other side. 1 sec. And Germany now can start flying these planes in. It's the first thing they're going to try to do to put the Sovs out of supply. Can they try and roll some low numbers, please? We've got the 1 plane down here assaulting the white ferry. And it does so successfully. White ferry's out of action. 1 guy was lost in the waters as that happened. I'll take the token off from there. And we got 2 dice versus the greeny grey ferry up north there. 2 dice at 3s. I'm taking that 1 out too. So that's some expensive losses for the Soviets there. And it's going to be putting a couple of guys out of supplies. 1 moment. The battle up there into Barakadi. Well, these guys there won't have a supply line. Can't get out of Rynok just yet because of the the German control. That may change very quickly, but I think up there is a lost cause for Germany anyway. And the guy down south in the southern railway station, well, he's on his own, facing a monster load of guys that's coming in there. In fact, we can start off with that attack down there. It's just one Soviet guy who's got a defense at a 1 because he's unsupplied. And we've got 8 dice coming back of them, and 6 of them are going to be at 1s. So the mechanized infantry, 6 dice, all at 1s. And they did get 1 just down the bottom of the tray. Was it in shot? Yeah. So he has been taken out before he even fire those Stugs into him. And his reply roll out of 1 himself. Oh, he scores a hit too. Well, these dice are suddenly hot. So, it's not a targeted attack, this one. So, one of those mech is lost, and one of those guys down there is lost and gone. And I can change the control in a mo, and then look at up north. 1 second. That's better. I had a bit of a pile up of tokens and defunct infantry and tanks and whatever getting in the way down below me. This attack now into the barricade workers' settlement. The Germans are supplied via Rhinock and possibly out through Pitomnik if they trace a line through the city as well. That's not a problem for them. But the Soviets are out of supplies. And I'm happy now because I put a token in place for the possibility of the ferry to barricade being taken out, so we can spend this 1 supply to keep those guys in supply. Hooray! I've got an idea and it worked. And we've got the dice on the board already in advance of this situation. So Germany have their 1 artillery piece that rolls in at a 2 and scores a hit. Nice! And the infantry guy at a 1. These dice are quite good today, aren't they? Close but no cigar, but they'll be happy enough taking 1 of those guys. That's probably going to be taken on the infantry guy, I'd imagine. We'll roll the 2 tanks that are in there, the T-34s. 2 of them score a hit. That is job done. The battle is over. The battle for Barricade is done. Those 2 guys will go. 1 infantry guy will go from the Sovs. I can take the unsupplied token off, and the supply has been used for that 1 battle because it was in an adjacent space, blah, de, blah, de, blah. That will do. I'll have a quick skeggy around the board, see if I've missed anything, and I'll probably see you when we get into the Allied returns, when we think about the Operation Uranus. Okay, on to card number 7, Allied Counter-Offensive. In turn number 6, and yes, we are going to be launching Operation Uranus straight away, as I predicted that we would be doing as the Soviet player. So down there on the board, we put Operation Winter Storm marker 3 spaces long, 1, 2, 3, and that is when the Germans can launch their Winter Storm reply when Malmsteen comes back through from the southwest of the board. The cards I've already pre-drawn from the Operation Uranus deck. We're going to be putting a couple of guys into Lake Sarpa, where we've got this 1 bomber and a supply token that can be flown around. The other one's going to be left there, as I mentioned before, it's like the other place. And these 2 guys are going to go into Sasa. Up north, similar kind of ideas of getting the 2 loose supply tokens into Vovlova, and the one that's on the bomber there into Cherkin. We can't use Veselneskaya and we can't use Krasnomayorsk because that only happens if we were launching Operation Uranus on turn number 7. So after that, we have to put this Allied counter-offensive card back in the box, along with the unused Operation Uranus cards. We're not going to be doing that. This game's coming out again straight away after, trying to get the German strategy right, because I think right at this very moment, Germany are looking at trying to get a minor win condition, which is just hanging on to Pitomnik, hanging on for their dear life. I don't think that there's any chance of them winning the game, even though they look fairly strong down here in the south of the city. They're not going to be able to grab all those other fortified zones there. And so I think that's what Germany are going to be looking at. We're going to buy for the Soviets just the 1 ferry, the White Ferry. 1 artillery is one of the freebies that we get on Heroes Workers of Stalingrad. Infantry artillery, we've got just 8 RPCs to spend this turn. And I don't think we really need to get any more supplies up there in the north of the city, because that battle was done as we saw before. The guy from Spartanovka could go out into Rhine and reopen that supply line, but I'm not even sure we have to do that particularly. It might be better to move him into Macheka Ravine and into Alovka, grab that one fortified zone, as the rest of the guys come sweeping down through the city. So let me just get all the pieces onto the board, and I'll think about what Soviet movements are going to be done and any kind of reaction phase. Other than that, I will see you when we get some battling on the board. Okay, I've had a very pleasant half now, just pondering all the moves that could be done by the Soviets in this Operation Uranus counterattack. And I was also pondering the stupidity of some of those German moves. They've had some bad luck with the dice, but I'm not going to start blaming dice for anything here. I don't think I've played them very well. I look forward to a second game where I can rethink their tactics, maybe pushing a bit faster in the city, not pushing as hard on the region board itself. I don't know. It's for the finding out. But looking at what the Soviets have done, we did take a guy from Spartanovka into Rheinland, just to give the Germans something to think about and protect that region as a kind of a backstop. And we've been moving some guys around in the north of the city. A couple of tanks have blitzed through Macheka Ravine into Alovka to secure that fortified zone. Everyone else is coming south, jumping in and out of their ambush sites, etc. We're going to be firing a couple of Katyushas off across the river as well, and we put a bomber into here with one supply token to supply Pavlova's. I keep saying Pavlov's house. Got food on the brain me sometimes. Over on the region board, it looks quite scary for the Germans, and it was a little bit more scary than that, because I did have two bombers into this attack into Beketovka, along with the three fighters that are in there, but I was forgetting or not keeping enough in mind that Manstein comes through on Operation Winter Storm later on. And if I overcommit all the bombers and all the fighters and all the supplies and whatever else it is, we may get caught with our trousers down. But I do think this game is the Soviets to win from this stage onwards. And I haven't used the supplies out or the air particularly well, I don't think. But again, more for my learning. So the first thing we have to do is start firing off the anti-aircraft artillery. We've got two in here from the Germans, and we've got one over in the train station versus the one plane in Pavlov's house. I'll just start throwing some dice at that. Just give me a second, and I'll do the Katyusha fire as well. So don't blink or you're going to miss it. So we've got one anti-aircraft gun versus the plane dropping its supplies into Pavlov's house. It misses. We have two anti-aircraft guns firing up at the three planes coming into Beketovka. Both missing. And then for the Katyushas versus Kletskaya. All missing. The dice have gone cold. The two Katyushas that are in Kresnaya Sloboda are going to be firing up into the train station. Nothing happened. Nada. Yet. I get the first battle onto the board, which will be Beketovka. See you in a sec. Okay, the battle for Beketovka is on the board right now. When I put the units on, I noticed I hadn't fired the Katyusha from Krasnomirsk into Beketovka. So we can do that one first. It gets one dice at once and misses. So ignore that. We go on to the attack by the Soviets. They're going to get 5 dice. All at 3s from their 2 T-34s and 3 fighter planes. Well, that one we can't count at all, can we? But we have got 2 hits thus far. And we rolled the 3rd dice again. And we scored a clean hit out of that. And then we got the 2 artillery pieces. They go in at 2s. A 4th hit out of it, and I think there's only 5 units in there. 2 at 1 by the infantry. They miss, but that's a Soviet blitz going back through into there. 4 of those guys going to be lost. 1, 2, 3, and 4, which will give us 5 dice in reply. All at 2s. and score just one hit. I'll look at Kletskaya next. Okay, the battle up there into Kletskaya. We brought a couple of these tanks across the Don from Turkin. It does mean that we've given the Germans an extra hit point effectively on their dice, because it would have had the infantry at 2s, they're up to 3s, and the tanks from 3s to 4s. But bringing in a couple of tanks at 3 each, that's a 6 versus 2 bonus. It's positive EV for the Soviets. That's expectation value. That's an old poker term. We start rolling these battles out anyway. We got 3 dice at 3s for the tanks rolling in and scoring 2 hits straight away. Germans aren't coming back from the Kletskaya attack. They're going to have 1 tank rolling in at a 4 and scoring a hit, and the infantry at a 3 scoring a hit as well. We can absorb that on our regular infantry down there, and Kletskaya has fallen to the Soviets. Let's have a little look around the board 1 second. Let me slide everything out of the way. This now looks pretty scary for Germany. As I mentioned, I don't think I played Germany particularly well this time round. Up there in the western side of the map over here, the Soviets are going to run through here. I don't think turn number 9 and Operation Winterstorm can come fast enough for Germany. I do not think that the Soviets can achieve one of their instant victories before Winterstorm is begun. But I think that it's a very hard ask for Germany for now. But once I've got all the planes back and landed and everything, I will see you probably on turn number 7, and we'll look at what Germany can do about this mess that I've got them into. Okay, on to turn number 7. We begin with the weather roll at a 3 or less. And we still do not get any bad weather. That's good for Germany, because I think right now they are saying, "Wir wurden mit heruntergelassen. Husen, wisst?" Which, if you can believe Google Translator, means we've been caught with our trousers down. And although I was espousing the perilous position Germany were in, looking only at a minor victory previously, but I do think, rereading the victory conditions, Germany do have a shot at grabbing a major victory, which is at the end of the game control at least 1 RP zone on the city board and maintain a supply line into that zone. It's a hard ask for Germany, and as I mentioned, I haven't played them very well, I do not think. So to do them justice and the game justice, I am trying my absolute hardest to get something out of this game for Germany. I'm now a German supporter. I think, looking at this board here, now the weather roll has gone for us, I think we can use our air power into Pavlov's house and the grain elevator to try and surround this guy, pop him out of his sniper's nest, because he's being a bit of a pain in there. And if we can get maybe Army Camp or Southern Rail Station as our last hope, supply line out through Gumrak into Pitomnik, then we would be able to satisfy that win condition, but only with Manstein's help on turn number 9, coming up from the southwest and getting a supply line back into Pitomnik, because I do think that the Soviets are going to cut us off within a couple of rounds. But as I say, I think there's going to be some retreating back into Pitomnik to try to get that place at least held on to until our reinforcements arrive, and some sort of shuffling around here and some kind of attacks down there. So let me get all this worked out properly and get the guys onto the battle board, and I will see you when we start rolling some dice. Okay, before we get going with the German battling this turn, I just wanted to demonstrate to you some of my tactical ineptness, the headaches that I've caused to General Paulus. We've taken the 2 guys from Perelazovsky, which is up here, into Petrovka. It's not going to help them out too much, but it is dragging some of the Soviets away from this direction and away from the supply lines. But I don't think we can actually keep the supply lines open. I haven't fully looked at the Soviet moves yet, those nasty Soviets, but they can, I think, surround Pitomnik with forces from up north and Dun Suth. I really wanted to fly a supply into Pitomnik to keep those guys battling at full strength, but they are fortified, so it's not too big a burden to them. But my planes are in the wrong place. I think they were in Oblivinskaya or even Pitomnik when they started off this turn, rather than in Tetsinskaya where the supplies are. So that's a Yabu sucks to me there. Over on the city board, we are 90% there. We are just putting ourselves back out of all these northern areas. I really wanted to keep this guy in Mamayev Kurgan for those 2 RPs, but we can't do that. We've got to bring him down the line, train station, army camp, etc., and get him into Gumrak, because we're worried about these 2 tanks up here in Olovka coming blitzing their way through. At least he's some sort of blocking force. How strong it's going to be, we don't know. It does free up 2 of the, I think it was 5 mechanised infantry that was in Southern Rail Station. 1 is staying there to pick up the RPC from there. 2 are going into this battle, and these 2 are coming off the board back into Pitomnik. Because they doubled up going in, they double down going out again. But it gives us just a little bit more hope out there to keep Pitomnik alive. So the battles we are declaring is 1 into the Pavlov's house and 1 into the grain elevator station, getting all our air that we can into these battles and trying to take out this 1 bridge as well. Let me get that up on the board and I'll see you in a sec. Okay, so the first thing we've got to do, the Soviets have got 3 pieces of artillery in the area that can try and knock out these planes. We're going to put 2 pieces of artillery against these Pavlov's house guy, and this 1 piece of artillery or anti-air against the 1 fighter attacking the bridge. So we'll do those first. 2 to the Pavlov's house, air attack, and both missing, and 1 versus the white bridge attack. That's okay there. Now nothing happens there with these planes. They can get involved in the battles always round. We also now have to resolve the ambush sites. We've got this guy here. He's going to pop a shot into the Pavlov's house crew. And narrowly missing. And the 1 further down south here, he's against the grain elevator crew in there. A couple of nice tanks, or a tank and a Stug he wouldn't mind taking out. But takes out his own toe, I think, with a roll of a 6. That would do for the, I believe, all the reaction phase cards. I will now look at the first battle, which will be into Pavlova's house. Okay, so the battle into Pavlov's house. We've got 3 Soviet infantry guys in there. They are supplied from the Cross River, and there's a supply token. They didn't know what Germany were going to do, and they are fortified. So they're going up to 3s in defence. We've got a little bit of work to do to catch up with that. But all our dice rolls will just be non-targeted because it's only infantry we can hit. So a tank and a bomber going in out of 3. And we scored 1 hit against them. We've now got the, I think it's an artillery and a Stug that's in there. At 2s, scoring a 2nd hit. And now a couple of guys at 1s. Come on. Good roll for Germany. Good roll for Germany. Come on. Oh, it was close. But we've taken 2 of those guys out there. They get their reply rolls all at the 3s. I've changed that red dice back for 1 of my normal colours. They're all in at 3s. And score 2 hits out of that. So 2 of the Soviets go and 2 of the Germans go as well. I would have liked better than that, I think. But yeah, okay. We can't have everything. Let's just pop that 1 over here and do the attack against the white ferry now. It's a single dice roll, which will result in taking the ferry out. Nice. That means that guy now becomes unsupplied, but unfortunately there is a supply next door which he can spend. I'll get that up on the board. So the 2 guys over in the grain elevator have got the supply from next door. They can use that up, and we can start rolling in this German attack. We got a tank and 2 fighters, all going in at 3s. Just the 1 hit. Got a Stug going in at 2s. Oh, that's all we need to do. Only 2 guys in there, or they were in there. They're now lost and gone. They get to reply at 3s themselves from their fortified supplied position and score just the 1 hit back. I'm happy enough with that as the German player. That means that All these guys go back on the board. The grain elevator falls into German hands, and we've achieved 90% of our aim there. I really wouldn't have minded getting that last guy out of there. We can pop this guy out of his little nest up there. But yep, I'm fairly happy, but we are now really thin on the ground down there. I will just finish off the rest of the German turn, and I will see you on the Soviets' reply. Well, as far as Germany are concerned, the Soviets are all over the region board like a rash. Over on the city board, things don't look a whole lot better, especially now we've got the added air onto the region board as well, and some Katyusha fires we're going to have to do early in the combat. We've only got one artillery piece, as far as I can see, that can fire at any air, and that's going to be the one artillery piece in Pavlov's house versus one bombist trying to deliver some supplies here. There are 3 fighters in there as well, but again, it's the supplies we're trying to do. I don't know why we're doing that, but that's the sort of policy we're sticking with as Germany. It rolls in at a 1, it's anti-air. Oh, and it missed. I thought it was going to fall on a 1, then it teased me. So that's all been taken care of. Now look, the Katyusha fires in all the places as the Soviets start whacking their rockets in. They've got 2 guys here in Krasnaya Sloboda trying to fire into the grain elevator. I think we can take these guys out and in the back, then that's going to be almost game over for us. So it's 2 at 1. Nope, nothing happened. And we've got on the main board, there's 2 guys in Kletskaya up there. I try to fire into the is that Petrovka over there? I can't remember its name now. So look at the old battle board. 2 at 1 again. After that really hot start that the Katyushas had, they've gone entirely cold. And they remain cold. It must be the weather. So let me look at the first battle. We'll start off on the region board somewhere, and I'll see you over there. Okay, so we'll start off with the battle into Petrovka. It's on the board, ready to rock and roll. We have got a 1 bombist and 2 tanks going in, all at 3s. And there's a mech in there as well. We don't need the mech. The German and the, let's say he's Italian. It's Klaus and Gino trying to defend at 2s. Scoring 1 hit, that mech goes, and both those guys, and Petrovka now falls into Soviet hands. I think the next attack will be the one into Vertiachi. Okay, so the battle into Vertiachi. I was being so over-optimistic about the German chances here. It's getting near done, isn't it? Yeah, I'm ever the optimist. This one is not going to run and run, I don't think. We got the 1 Soviet upside down bomber, and I've just noticed actually I've got an artillery that I hadn't moved from Ilovinska in the Soviet movement. It should have moved down to Kutluban. I'm going to do that out of sequence at a time. Don't mind me, please. 1 bombist rolling in at a 3, missing. 1 tanken going in at a 2. Sorry, that tank should be at a 3 as well. Get me places right. It misses. This is punishment for me putting things in the wrong place and not moving things around. 2 at 1 for regular infantry. They miss as well. The German stands up there in Vertiachi. And he misses on his roll too. So nothing happens in Vertiachi. That place stays alive for a wee while longer. It's the battle for, what's it called now? Beketovka. Beketovka looks like this. 1 German artillery piece quaking like a posh duck against all this opposition coming in. It's not going to last like the guy in Vertiachi did. Tanks fire in, both miss. Artillery at 2s. Both miss. And then we got 4 at 1s for the infantry. Me and my big mouth. And they do finally take him out. So that's the battle for Beketovka. Anything in the city going to take place? Yes, 1 battle in Pavlov's house. All those battles on the region board were all in supply, as is the one on the city board. And it serves me right for thinking that the Germans couldn't stand up with 1 loader unit versus a whole heap coming in at them. But well done, Germany. So let's get on with the Soviet attack here. They've got 3 fighters going in first, all at 3s, and scoring 1 hit. And then we have a tank and an artillery. Again, I put the tank in the wrong place. Keep doing that. Tank goes in at a 3 as well. It misses. The artillery at a 2. It misses. And 2 infantry at 1s. A second hit. So that's done. We can take that probably on the... I'm not sure whether it should be the Stug or the tank at this stage. It's possibly more likely to be the tank because I want that Stug to try and hit that for sure if we get a second go at it. So as the Stug fires first, it can target the T-34. It can hit the T-34. Nice. We now can fire off the 1 tank at a 3. It can score a hit. And we get 1 from 2 at the artillery. It scores a hit as well. Beautiful. So the tank must go as a targeted one, and then 2 more pieces. It will be Soviet infantry get lost from there. And I think in that case, I will take it on the Stug and the artillery piece for Germany. So Pavlov's house stands up just down here. That, I think, is the end of all the action on turn number 7. I was over ambitious with my thoughts of Germany getting a major win out of this. I'm gone back to my idea that it's only going to be a minor hanging on if they can. But we still got another whole round to get to before Malmsteen comes to our rescue. I look forward to seeing how that plays out. That will be in video number 5. Turn number 8 coming up sometime shortly. Till then, be cool.